Last class we have discussed about change of state. That substance changes from one state to another state, solid to liquid, liquid to gaseous state, and that is known as change of state. At that time I said to you that change of state takes place at a fixed temperature. This is a substance change from one state to another state at a particular temperature, at a fixed temperature. If this takes place at a fixed temperature, then what is responsible for change of state? Actually, the latent heat, which we call the heat, which is known as the latent heat, that is utilized to convert the substance from one state to another state at fixed temperature. So today we will discuss about the latent heat. Water, you have heard about the water at 0 degrees Celsius and ice also at 0 degrees Celsius. We call sometimes the ice at 0 degrees Celsius and water also exists at 0 degrees Celsius. Since both are at 0 degrees Celsius, but one is in the solid state and other is in the liquid state. Then what is responsible for this change of state? You know what is responsible for this change of state? That change of state, that is the latent heat. Latent means hidden. Means this heat cannot be measured with the help of the thermometer. This heat is just measured with a device that is calorimetry in terms of calorie or in terms of joule. It cannot be measured by the thermometer because here what will happen? Ice is at 0 degree as well as water also at 0 degrees Celsius. But only the thing is that ice is in the solid state, water is in the liquid state. So there is change of state, but no change of temperature is there. So this heat is what? This heat is known as the latent heat. Today we will discuss about the latent heat. In the same way you have heard about water at 100 degrees Celsius as well as steam at 100 degrees. Okay. So both are at 100 degrees Celsius. But the state is not same. Water in the liquid state at 100 degrees Celsius and water vapor, that is steam, at 100 degrees Celsius, that is in the gaseous state. So state is not same. State different. Temperature is same. Again here, what is responsible for the change of state? Again the answer is your latent heat. The heat which cannot be measured by the thermometer, but can be measured by, it is measured with the help of the calorimeter. So we will learn today about the latent heat. So latent heat is what? The amount of heat energy absorbed or released during the process of change of state of substance without any change in temperature is called latent heat. The amount of heat energy absorbed or released during the process of change of state of substance without any change in temperature is called latent heat. So here suppose ice converted to water but without change of temperature. Ice at 0 degree to water at 0 degree. Okay. So the substance changed from solid state to the liquid state without any change of temperature, and this is possible with the supply of little bit of heat, and that heat is what? That heat is latent heat. And again what will happen? The water, when it is heated, then what will happen? It will be converted into water vapor, but both are at 100 degrees Celsius. So whatever this heat is supplied for its conversion from one state to another state without change of temperature, that is known as the latent heat. Now this one is known as the latent heat of fusion and this one is known as the latent heat of vaporization. Latent heat of fusion means the substance will change from solid state to liquid state without any change of temperature. So latent heat of fusion is what? The amount of heat energy absorbed during the process of change of state of substance from solid state to liquid state during melting. During melting, because this is melting, during melting without any change in temperature is called latent heat of fusion. So ice converted into the water at 0 degrees Celsius, that is known as what? Latent heat of, the amount of heat energy required to convert ice at 0 degrees Celsius to water at 0 degrees Celsius, or wax to molten wax at its melting point, that is known as the latent heat of fusion. Latent heat of fusion. Now I'll say to you specific latent heat of fusion. What is specific latent heat of fusion? Specific latent heat of fusion means you have the unit mass of the ice. Unit mass of ice, and you, that will be converted to unit mass of the water. At that time, whatever the heat energy is supplied, that is known as specific latent heat of fusion. For example, you have 1 kilogram of ice and converted into 1 kilogram of water with the supply of actually 336 into 10 to the power 3 joule of energy, heat energy. Then what happens? The ice, 1 kilogram of ice is converted into 1 kilogram of water. And that is known as what? Specific latent heat of fusion. So specific latent heat of fusion is what? The amount of heat energy required to melt unit mass of a substance at its melting point. Unit mass, maybe it is 1 kilogram or maybe 1 gram. Means 1 kilogram ice to 1 kilogram of water, or 1 gram of ice to 1 gram of water. Whatever the heat is supplied, that is known as specific latent heat of fusion. A specific word is always related to unit mass of the substance. So that is specific latent heat of fusion. And its value, if I say that specific latent heat of water is, specific latent heat of fusion for ice is 336 joule per gram, it indicates that 1 gram of ice converted into 1 gram of water at 0 degrees Celsius with the absorption of 336 joule of energy. 336 joule of energy. Now next is that latent heat of vaporization. Latent heat of vaporization. What is latent heat of vaporization? Latent heat of vaporization is the amount of heat energy absorbed during the process of change of state of substance from liquid state to gaseous state at a particular temperature or at fixed temperature. That is known as latent heat of vaporization. And specific latent heat of vaporization is what? The amount of heat energy required to, to convert unit mass of a substance from its solid state to its liquid state to its gaseous state at its boiling point is known as latent heat of vaporization. So here, suppose you have the water, whatever at 100 degrees Celsius converted into water vapor, that is steam at 100 degrees Celsius. So whatever the energy is supplied here, that, or whatever the heat energy is supplied, that is known as latent heat of vaporization. But suppose this is 1 kilogram of what? Water converted into 1 kilogram of water vapor. For that, whatever the heat energy is supplied at 100 degrees Celsius, temperature is constant, 100 degrees Celsius, both are at 100 degrees Celsius, then that one is known as specific latent heat of vaporization. You know what is the value for a specific latent heat of vaporization for the water? It is 2260 joule per gram, or you can say that 2260 into 10 to the power 3 joule per kilogram. It means to convert 1 kilogram of water at 0 degrees Celsius, sorry, at 100 degrees Celsius to 1 kilogram of water vapor at 100 degrees Celsius required this much joule of energy, that is 2260 into 10 to the power 3 joule of energy. And that is what? That is the specific latent heat of vaporization for water. That is the value for the specific latent heat of vaporization of water. It has been observed experimentally that the specific latent heat of vaporization as well as specific latent heat of fusion value for water is maximum. For water is maximum, and that is why so many natural consequences are possible due to the high specific latent heat of ice and high specific latent heat of vaporization for steam. Uh, Now we will discuss some points related to natural consequences of high specific latent heat of ice. First is that soft drinks cool better in ice than water at 0 degrees Celsius. What I said to you, that soft drink bottles when cool better in ice than water at 0 degrees Celsius. Suppose you have soft drink bottle, this cold drink bottle. If you will keep it in water which is at 0 degrees Celsius, and the same bottle you will keep it in the ice at 0 degrees Celsius, you will observe that the bottle cool better in ice than in water at 0 degrees Celsius. Why? Because water at 0 degrees Celsius per gram of water has 336 joule of energy more compared to the ice at 0 degrees Celsius. Because with the release of 336 joule of energy per gram, the water at 0 degree converted into the ice at 0 degrees Celsius. So per gram of water, the heat content at 0 degree is more compared to per gram of ice at 0 degrees Celsius. That is how much? That is 336 calorie per gram. That is why what will happen when it is kept in the ice, then what will happen? It will cool better than when it is kept in water. At both are at the same temperature, 0 degrees Celsius, because heat content per gram of ice is less than heat content per gram of water at 0 degree Celsius. Next is that weather becomes warm during snowfall. Again the same thing is here. Weather becomes warm during snowfall, because to melt the snow means when snow melts, at that time it will absorb, sorry, it will release, because snow melting, it is melting. During the melting process, what will happen? It will release energy within the atmosphere or within the surrounding. So per gram of the snow which is at 0 degrees Celsius, when it will melt, it will release 336 joule of energy per gram. Means 1 gram of snow, when it will melt, it will release 336 joule of energy within the surrounding to convert it into the water at 0 degrees Celsius. Now the energy is released. That is why what will happen? When energy will be released, the weather becomes warm. Next is that weather becomes very cold when snow or hailstorm starts melting. Now when hailstorm starts melting, at that time what will happen? To melt, to convert into the molten state, they require some amount of energy, means 336 gram of energy, 336 joule of energy per gram. And from where they will take it? They take it from the surrounding. So they take it from the surrounding. That is why the temperature of the surrounding will decrease. So the temperature of the, so a vast amount of energy is extracted from the surrounding and it becomes very cold. Next one is that glaciers fed rivers flow throughout the year. Throughout the year, ice on glaciers melts slowly, as every gram of ice on melting from water at 0 degrees Celsius require 336 joule of heat energy. 336 joule of heat energy. The summer or winter, ice on the glaciers does not melt completely, and they will not melt completely because they require large amount of energy to melt, and that is not possible to supply, and even not possible to supply. That is why such rivers flow throughout the year. Next is that icebergs sometimes reach equatorial region in the sea. Now water has the highest specific latent heat of capacity, that is 336 joule per gram. So when a large size glacier is picked up by the ocean current, it melts slowly because huge amount of heat energy is required to melt it. And in such a situation, some big icebergs manage to reach equatorial because they will not melt. That amount of energy is not available. So what will happen? They will reach to the equatorial region without melting completely. Next, we will discuss about the natural consequences of high specific latent heat of ice. Natural consequences of high specific latent heat of vaporization for water. First is that steam is used as a fluid in thermoelectric powerhouses. Actually, water has high specific latent heat of vaporization. I said to you its value is 336 joule per gram, or that is 226 joule per gram, or 226 into 10 to the power 4 joule per kilogram. So that is too much, very high. So what happens in thermoelectric power houses? Coal is used as a source of heat. The heat of burning coal is used to raise steam, which has the highest latent heat of vaporization. That is 2260 joule per gram as no other substance can carry as much heat per gram as the steam. Therefore, steam is used to run turbines. It is the heat energy carried by the steam in bulk, which turns the turbine that are coupled to electric generators to produce electricity. So since steam has highest latent heat of vaporization, 2260, and no other substance can carry this much of heat per gram as steam, and therefore steam is used to run turbines. Next is that Burns caused by the steam are more severe than the burn caused by boiling hot water because the heat content capacity of boiling hot water at 100 degrees Celsius is much less compared to heat content capacity of steam at 100 degrees Celsius, because water at 100 degrees Celsius, after absorbing large amount of heat, that is 2260 joule of heat, then 1 gram of water is converted into 1 gram of steam at 100 degrees Celsius. It means the heat content capacity, the total amount of heat content within the 100, sorry, within the steam at 100 degrees Celsius is much more compared to the water at 100 degrees Celsius. Much more than the water at 100 degrees Celsius. So this excess heat energy of steam is the cause of severe burn on the skin. Now we will discuss about the natural consequences of high specific latent heat of vaporization of steam. First is that steam is used as a fluid in thermoelectric powerhouses. In thermoelectric powerhouses, coal is used as a source of heat. The heat of burning coal is used to raise steam, which has the highest latent heat of vaporization of 2260 joule per gram, as no other substance can carry this much of heat per gram as steam, because steam has the highest latent heat of vaporization. Therefore, steam is used to run turbine because it its heat content is very high. It is the heat energy carried by the steam in bulk which turns the turbine that are coupled to the electric generators to produce electricity. Now next is that burns caused by steam are more severe than the burns caused by boiling water. Actually, we know that steam has highest specific latent heat of vaporization, that is 2260 joule per gram. No other substance has this much of latent heat of vaporization. Water has the maximum latent heat of vaporization. So what happens when 1 gram of water at 100 degree converted into 1 gram of steam at 100 degrees Celsius, it will be converted by absorbing 2260 joule of heat energy. It means heat content of steam at 100 degrees Celsius is much more than heat content of water at 100 degrees Celsius for the same amount of water. So what happens? Every gram of steam at 100 degrees Celsius will deliver 2260 joule of heat energy, more than the water at 100 degrees Celsius. And that is why, since steam contain excess of heat energy, so steam cause severe burns on the skin. So this is what all about the consequences of high specific latent heat of vaporization. So we have discussed about latent heat of vaporization, latent heat of fusion. Now one point is left, that is the evaporation. Tell me, boiling and evaporation are same? No, both are not same. We say water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. But when river water converted into the water vapor state, do you say that when the temperature of the river water will become 100 degrees Celsius, then it will be converted into the water vapor state? No. Even during daytime, evening time, the temperature is not 100 degree, but still the water is converted into the gaseous state. That is the water vapor form. And that is responsible for the rain, or that is responsible for the water cycle. So there is a difference between boiling and evaporation. Boiling is what? Boiling is the process in which the substance will convert it, not only water, any substance that converted from liquid state to gaseous state at its boiling point. Like water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. So whatever from liquid water, whatever is formed, that is the steam, that is the gaseous state of water. In the same way, alcohol, its boiling point is 80 degrees Celsius. So when alcohol is heated to 80 degrees Celsius, then whatever the alcohol vapor is formed, actually the gaseous state of alcohol. But evaporation, what is evaporation? The process in which a substance changes from its liquid state to its gaseous state at any temperature below its boiling point. And that is what? That is evaporation. Like river water, sea water converted into the water vapor form, that is by the process of evaporation, not by the process of boiling. So there is a difference between boiling and evaporation. Boiling takes place at a fixed temperature, that is at its boiling point. But evaporation, it takes place below its boiling point. Like water evaporates below its boiling points, below 100 degree at any temperature. Below boiling point, maybe 30 degree, 40 degree, 50 degree, whatever. The evaporation takes place. So evaporation takes place, first thing is that the evaporation takes place at any temperature below its boiling point. Second characteristic is that it is a slow and gradual process. Slowly and slowly the river water and sea water is converted into the water vapor form. It's not like that. The whole river water will be converted into the gaseous state within few days. No, it is a very slow and gradual process. Even if you will keep a little bit of water in the in the bowl and keep it in the sun, it will take 4 5 hours or maybe more than that to convert it into the vapor state. So this is a slow and gradual process, and it is a surface phenomenon. The water will evaporate only from the surface. The surface particles, the molecules converted into the gaseous state. So this is a surface phenomenon. While boiling is not the surface phenomenon, that is throughout the liquid, the entire liquid will be converted into the gaseous state during boiling. And evaporation produces the cooling effect. Evaporation produces the cooling effect. What happens when you sweat? At that time, what will happen? Little bit your body temperature decreases at that time. So actually, to evaporate that water, it takes the heat from the body, or you can say from the surrounding. That is why the temperature of the surrounding decreases. But in case of boiling, this won't happen. That the temperature of surrounding will decrease. Instead of that, to boil, you have to supply the heat. Now, what are the factors that affects the rate of evaporation? First is the temperature of the liquid. Temperature of the liquid, more the temperature, more will be the rate of evaporation. Suppose a wet cloth, you kept it in the open during a hot day, then it will dry up much faster than on a cold day. It means the rate of evaporation depends on the temperature. Next is that it depends on area of the exposed surface. The same thing, suppose the cloth is there and you will spread the cloth totally spread in the open, and next the same cloth, what you will do, you will fold up 4 times the wet cloth and keep it in the open, kept it in the open. In which case it will dry up faster? Obviously the first case, because the area of the exposed surface is more. When the area of the exposed surface is more, at that time, what will happen? The rate of evaporation will be more. Next, it depends on the nature of the liquid. Nature of the liquid means whether the liquid is volatile or less volatile. Volatile means its boiling point is less, like alcohol. Boiling point is less, so it is a volatile liquid, means easily converted into the vapor state. And water, it's less volatile because its boiling point is more compared to the alcohol. When you go to the doctor, some injury, then you know that they put the spirit on the injury, and immediately what will happen? It vaporize or that dry up. Why? Because that is due to the nature of liquid. Because alcohol is a volatile liquid, its boiling point is low, so it will evaporate quickly compared to the water. Now next, it depends on the flow of air above the liquid. If air is blown above the liquid surface, it moves away the molecules of the liquid from the surface within. So the liquid evaporates more quickly. That is why what will happen? To cool the milk, suppose the milk is there within the bowl and I want to cool it quickly, then what I will do? I will blow the air above it. I will blow the air above it, then what will happen? The milk will cool down quickly. Next, it depends on the presence of moisture or humidity. More the humidity, less will be the rate of evaporation. Like wet clothes, we know that during the rainy season, it will take time to dry up compared to the summer season. Because during the summer, if the dry weather is there, then quickly what will happen? The cloth will dry up. But during the rainy season, at that time the humidity is too much in the atmosphere, means atmosphere is already saturated with the water vapor, so it's very difficult, or the rate of evaporation slow down at that time. So this is all about how the rate of evaporation depends on various factors. It depends on the temperature of the liquid, then second, it depends on the area of the exposed surface, third, it depends on the nature of the liquid, and fourth, it depends on the flow of air above the liquid, and last, that it depends on the presence of moisture or humidity. Next is that we will discuss some applications of evaporation. Applications related to evaporation. In summer, water gets cooled in an earthen pot. Actually, what happens? Summertime, you have observed that most of the people keep water within the earthen pot, which commonly we know as surahi. Okay, mitti ka ghada. So the reason is that the earthen pot has numerous small pores are there. So what happens? From those pores, water seep out on the surface through these pores in the pot and try to evaporate. So to evaporate, this water requires some amount of heat, and that heat it take it from the surrounding. Surrounding means from the water inside the pot, and therefore what will happen? That water cool down. The temperature of that water decreases. Now next is that whenever somebody has fever, then doctor advise to put the strip of wet cloth on the forehead of a patient, sorry, on the forehead of a patient having high fever. Why? Because the water present in the strip want to evaporate, and for evaporation it require the heat, so that it will take it from the body of the patient. and thus the temperature of his body decreases. That is why the doctor advised to put the strip of cloth on the forehead of the patient having high fever. Next is that sometimes you have observed that whenever we are in hurry, suppose I don't have the time and I have to go to the office, and your mother said to you, given you the tea in the glass, then what you will do? But you don't have the time, so what you will do? You will pour it in the saucer or in a plate, because as the surface increases, we know that the first thing, since the surface increases, so the rate of the evaporation will be faster, and to evaporate it requires some amount of heat that it will take it from the inner particles of the tea, and that is why what will happen, the tea, the temperature of the tea decreases, or you will say that it will cool down and you will drink it quickly and can go to the go to office or go to school. Next is that evaporation of sweat from our body help to maintain the body temperature. Actually, whenever we sweat a lot, at that time what happens? Sweat try to evaporate, the water particles of the sweat try to evaporate. To evaporate, it requires the heat. So that heat, it take it from the body, absorb from the body, and that is why the temperature of the body decreases and you feel comfortable. You feel comfortable. So that is all about the little bit I have discussed about the application of evaporation. So this is all about this topic evaporation. Go through that what is evaporation, how it is differ from boiling. Okay, I forget to discuss you with this point now. How boiling and evaporation differ from each other. Okay, evaporation. What is evaporation? Means the substance changes from solid state, sorry, liquid state to gaseous state at any temperature below its boiling point. That is what evaporation. In boiling, the substance will change from liquid state to gaseous state at its boiling point. That is what? That is the boiling. Now next is that evaporation. That is very slow process. I said to you, it will take too much time to evaporate 1 liter of water. But boiling, that is a very fast process. It will not take too much time. If you want to boil 1 liter of water on the gas burner, you will observe that it will boil quickly compared to evaporation. Next is that evaporation is a surface phenomenon. Means only the molecules at the first upper surface evaporate, and then when those particles will evaporate, then next layer will evaporate. So what will happen? It is a surface phenomenon. While boiling takes place throughout the mass of the liquid. That is a bulk process. Next is that evaporation, I said to you that it takes place at any temperature below its boiling point, while boiling takes place at its boiling point. Means at a fixed temperature, that is at boiling point. By evaporation, temperature of the surrounding decreases. I explained you with the help of the earthen pot. And but in case of boiling, what will happen? The temperature of surrounding remains constant. It will not neither decrease nor it will increase. It will remain constant. Next is by evaporation, whatever the gaseous state is formed, that is known as the vapor. It means vapor is formed below its boiling point, and boiling leads to the formation of the gas. This gas is formed when the substance converted into the gaseous state at its boiling point. So by evaporation, what is formed? The gaseous substance that is formed, that is known as the vapor. And by boiling, whatever the gaseous substance is formed, that is, or gaseous state is formed, that is known as the gas. So evaporation leads to the formation of vapor, like water vapor, sulfur vapor, like that. But boiling leads to the formation of the gas, oxygen gas, hydrogen gas, or steam. So this is all about, we have discussed about the evaporation. Let